Hello and welcome back. Round number 10 is about to start, and it's gonna be against Wonder Nothing, the Dutchman, up against James Stewart Windward. And these guys, well, at least James is running a spicy one, isn't he, Simon?
Yes, and we heard rumors of, or at least I heard rumors of this deck already at breakfast, because, of course, whenever there is a mill deck, and in any format, people just have to get excited.
Yeah, and some heavy hitters in his deck. Jace's Phantasm, a 1-1, but it doesn't stay like as a 1-1, does it?
No, this is a mill deck that, of course, tries to mill out the opponent, but Jace's Phantasm is actually, let's say, an aggressive card.
Look at that. Turn 1, fetch. Yep, that's an archive trap. Mill 13, please. 1/4 gone. Just need 3 more archive traps, and he's done with this game. Let's see what what Wonder Nothing is milling. A couple of fairies we see: Spell Stutter, Sprite, Snapcaster Mage, Collective Brutality. Is he thinking about a second one? Look at that! What a start of the day! Second archive trap for James Stewart Windward. That's 26 cards gone. Could he do the quadruple one? Then it's game right. Ah, another card he wants to see.
He has them prepared on top of his cards. Ah, Surgical?
Oh, Surgical on Lingering Souls. Gonna grab maybe even some more cards out of your opponent's deck. By that. Oh, look at that. 2 in the hand of Wonder Nothing. This game is already quite a game. Milling your opponent, not very good against Logic Knot.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, Logic Knot is now the perfect counterspell.
Yeah, it's a blue counterspell. Let's take a look at what Wonder Nothing is bringing. Seems to be just a classic fairy deck. I see a Counter Squall out there, some discard spells, Bitter Blossoms, and he's pointing at his Logic Knot. Well, thanks for turning that into a counter spell.
Okay, so the mill count is 26 cards milled.
Yeah.
Plus a land fetched out of the graveyard. The Lingering Souls were not taken from from the library,
no,
right? So
they were in his hand.
Okay.
So 26,
27,
8,
30.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13,
Yeah.
14.
There should be
34.
24 cards, I think.
Yeah, 24, 26, I think. Something like that. Well, he's got some work to do with a couple of Hedron Crabs or Glimpse the Unthinkable, and it's done. Let's take a look what happens next. Wonder Nothing playing with his hand revealed because James Stewart knows about them anyway. It's something people do to speed up the game, otherwise James would have to write down everything.
And look how at this hand, Fatal Push and Path to Exile. He can be lucky if he gets a Hedron Crab with it.
And Visions of Beyond, that's draw 3, right? At this point, because there's so many cards in the graveyard. I believe James Stewart is just gonna draw 3. What quite a combo there. Ancestral Recall for him. Maybe Wonder Nothing is thinking about Logic Knot on that card. I wouldn't really blame him. Ancestral Recall is quite a strong card. 4 cards in hand for James. It seems like Wonder is gonna Logic Knot that card. And this just shows, I mean, these two players, they made day 2, 7-1-1 is not that bad of a record. I mean, they can still top 8. And going to day 2 with that's a great record with a mill deck. It just shows how open Modern is and how many different things you can do. Even Esper Fairies is something we haven't seen at all lately.
Well, for a very long time. For those that don't remember, Bitter Blossom was actually banned for a long time in Modern.
Ooh, look at that. Does Wonder not have a second blue source? Because all of them were milled. He's looking at the Godless Shrine. Yeah, maybe there's no possibility to Logic Knot actually.
Land destruction.
Oh, look at that. No double blue for Wonder Nothing. He probably had only a couple of Watery Graves in his deck, and I already see one in the graveyard. Hit by the double archive trap. What a beautiful game already. Look at that. Another archive trap.
He can cast it.
Yeah. Get in there. Number 3. 13 more down. Thoughtseize. That's not 13. There's not many left. I think 1 glimpse, and there's already 1 in hand. Could already mean the game. Visions of another Ancestral Recall. This game is something. Draw 3. James Stewart, just as he imagined doing it.
This deck looks unbeatable.
Yeah, certainly. I'm not really sure about the combo between Ensnaring Bridge and Visions from of Beyond. That seems like an ambitious combo, but it seems like he doesn't even need it. Now he's gonna reveal his hand. Minamo, no, Oboro, Palace in the Clouds, Jace's Ingenuity,
Manic Scribe,
Manic Scribe.
the Delirium Mill card.
Another card he has, which is very interesting, is where is it? The black one. I can't seem to. Crypt Incursion. It's like remove all creatures in the graveyard. You gain 3 life per creature that it gets removed. That's quite a lot of life at this point in the game.
Yeah, no, he doesn't need it in this matchup, but imagine doing that against Burn, just gaining, I don't know, 30 life. Jace's Phantasm is a 1-mana 1/1 that gets +4/+4 if your opponent has, I believe, 10 cards in his graveyard.
Correct.
Which, of course, is quite easy for James to achieve.
Yeah, and Manic Scribe is a 0/3. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into the graveyard. And if you have Delirium, you gotta do that at every opponent's upkeep.
Yeah, so if you have Delirium yourself, it's actually already 6 cards immediately if the opponent doesn't kill it.
Here we have it. Gonna mill 3. I'm guessing Wonder is not gonna counter that one. Yep. Another Thoughtseize to the bin. And now a 4/4 flyer, 5/5 flyer for 1 blue. Why not? I guess when the payoff's big enough, there might be something to say about just Archive Trap. I mean, if you get a cast Ancestral Recalls and Flying Dead Shadows after that, that's quite good.
Flying Death Shadows.
Yeah, it's a 1 mana 5/5 flying. That's a Flying Dead Shadow.
And if you're on 18, it's even better.
Yeah, there we have Jace's Phantasm and the Illusion. 1 blue, flying, 4/4, +4/+4, so 5/5 if you, as long as your opponent has 10 or more cards in his or her graveyard. So 1 Archive Trap will make that guy bigger.
But you do rely on playing against decks with fetch lands all day long, right? Because your Archive Traps are still your best cards.
And Glimpse the Unthinkable. But yeah, you do it, and maybe after game 1 it might be harder for that to trigger. Here we have Archive Trap. If an opponent searches his or her library this turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay Archive Trap's mana cost. This card is also very good against the Scapeshift deck, because you can just mill enough mountains so that they cannot kill you anymore. In the meantime, Wonder has nothing to do. Counter Squall, Fatal Push.
The matchup against Scapeshift must be absolutely amazing. They cannot kill you fast enough, and you just mill them out.
Yep. Three mana, Ensnaring Bridge. Oh well, he's gonna counter Squall that one. I guess Wonder has to find one way to win, but if that Ensnaring Bridge resolves, maybe he has no outs. We don't know. Maybe the Cryptic commands are gone.
We don't even know if he has any threats left in his deck.
No. It certainly doesn't have many cards left in his deck. 3 cards left. I would be very surprised to see him win out of that. There we have the win condition, but Jace's Phantasm is definitely a good blocker for Mutavault.
Jace's Phantasm also not attacking, right?
Nah,
that's not the point.
Stick to the plan. This is my roadblock. I'm not here to attack. Look at that. What a beautiful game. We've seen 3 Archive Traps. Wonder nothing. Almost nothing left in his deck. Everything's in the graveyard.
Does James not have Delirium? Instant artifact? Okay, game is over.
That's game. Wow, what a start of the day. This deck, if you guys want to write it down, we got it right for you here. 4 Hedron Crab, 4 Jace's Phantasm, 4 Manic Scribe, 4 Archive Trap, 4 Glimpse the Unthinkable, and 4 Mesmeric Orb. Another interesting card. What does that one exactly do?
That's
Simon?
the 2-mana artifact, and whenever a player untaps a permanent, they get milled for as many cards. That's from Mirrodin, I believe.
Whenever a permanent becomes untapped, that permanent's control puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. For 2 mana, indeed, the artifact.
I was looking if this deck maybe played Fraying Sanity, the new card from Amonkhet block, but I don't think it's in there. It probably the synergy is not very good together with the Archive Traps. You want to mill much earlier than the enchantment can come down.
Doesn't have it in the Cyber either. Another interesting card in the Cyber, Profane Memento. card, Memento actually. It's a card I have never heard of, to be fair. Let's take a look at what that one does. Profane Memento, a 1 mana artifact from M15. Whenever the creature is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you gain 1 life. So
That's another anti-burn card, I would guess. Or
Yeah,
just
but burn-
anti-aggro card.
Yeah, Burn doesn't run that many creatures. There we have it, Profane Memento. Look at that beautiful skull. Whenever a creature is put into a graveyard, you gain 1 life. Works, of course, very well with all of these mill cards. Archive Trap, Glimpse the Unthinkable. He's got another Crypt Incursion in Cyber. I'm loving this deck. I mean, I don't think it's super competitive, but it's competitive enough for you to win matches. And if you're looking to have fun, it's the perfect deck. I
I
think.
mean, this looks like tremendous fun. You have a few Shelldog Isles, so when things are going well, you even get some free spells out of it. You are playing cards that nobody has ever seen in Modern until now. That's really an innovative deck. Reminds me of last time I covered Modern, where people were trying out all kinds of Time Walk decks. And here you see that milling can be a viable strategy.
Yeah, milling and time walking. It's like two of these archetypes people keep playing. Like, even though if they're not that good, they just keep going back to them. I have one player at my local shop. He always tries to play the mill deck. In every format, he will try to build the mill deck. It won't be very good most of the time, but when it's good, he's just having so much fun. And the best thing is that your opponent is not having fun. He's like, mill me again. I can't do anything. 2 more turns and now I will be milled to death. This is horrible. Let's take a look at Wonder Nothing's deck. He's on Esper Fairies. Well, we gotta Bitter Blossom, Spellstutter Sprite, and Snapcaster Mage. We gotta expect that these cards. Lingering Souls, a nice addition. That the main reason for white, I'm guessing. I don't see any other white cards except for maybe some cyber cards, Zealous Persecution and Celestial Purge. Fairies, we thought it would get better once Bitter Blossom got unbanned, but it never really stood up, right?
No, I think it's a bit too slow compared to what you can do in the format. Bitter Blossom is an amazing card, but you're only getting 1 point of power every turn, with the delay as well. If you compare this to some of the other threats in the format, specifically what Black has to offer, Death Shadow, Tasigur, and Gurmak Angler, I think it's pretty clear why Bitter Blossom has not been seen at the top tables.
Yeah, but still 7-1-1, not a bad record. 7 wins, 1 draw after 9 rounds. I do think this deck could have a good matchup against Dead Shadow with Lingering Souls. Spellstutter Sprite, obviously a very good card against a deck full of 1 mana cards. A couple of discard spells. Only 1 Fatal Push though. A little bit surprised by that if you're running 4 Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have that much space in your deck. You have to put all those fairies in. You need the Bitter Blossom. You need a few counter spells. In this case, Wonder Nothing also put the 3 Lingering Souls in there. You need to play enough lands because you also need your Muta Vaults. It's not so easy to restrict yourself to 60. 3 Thought Scour are maybe a card that is not necessarily required.
Especially because you don't have any Gurmak Angler, as long as I see. So there's no delving going around. So putting these 2 cards only useful for Snapcaster Mage and for Lingering Souls.
Yeah, and also bad in the mill matchup.
Maybe he took these out. Don't want to mill yourself against the deck. Maybe he took out all of his fetch lands. Get out of there, Polluted Delta.
He actually doesn't have so many fetch lands, or as many fetch lands as some other players. He could theoretically try without fetch lands.
Try the fetchless land, fetchless game. Cyber cards, which he's looking to bring in. Do we have something special? Dispel, I'm guessing. Yeah,
not too much. You bring in your Hand Disruption, your Thought Seizes, your Collective Brutalities, Dispel, but that's pretty much it. I think Tasigur gets quite a lot better.
Yeah, obviously that's always a black 4/5. That's the downside of milling your opponent. I'm sure a lot of Dead Shadow decks will have played powerful 1 mana creatures. Not only Dead Shadow, they don't have to worry about their life. Although the Jace's
Phantasm is the perfect blocker, right?
You're at 5. Attack you for 5.
No, but also just threatening to block Death Shadow and Tasigur,
Yep.
or trade with Gurmaking. It costs 1, so it does die to Fatal Push, but what can you do?
And in the meantime, we have more matches in the feature match area. We'll certainly be bringing you these. There might even be Richard Hagen jumping in after this match to show you some more Magic, which we are recording. Of course, we have undefeated players. I believe we had 6 or 8 of them.
6, yeah.
6 undefeated players. 1 was on Junk, 1 was on Dead Shadow, 1 was on Grishelbrand. There was a Knight Bandfall. There was an Ad Nauseam, and then a 6th one, which I don't remember right now.
Ad nauseum, really?
Yeah, 1 Ad Nauseam. Jerome was really hoping not to play against that deck because they actually have main deck Leyline of Sanctity,
Mm-hmm.
so you cannot target them. So the Grishelbrand would have to win through attacking, and it's not very easy. It takes a couple of turns.
They also play for Pact of Negation, or 3 or 4 Pact of Negation, and they can win quite fast.
And in the meantime, these guys are done cyborging. So let's take a look at game number 2. Can James once again mill so many cards on basically turn 0 it was, because he didn't even need to cast use any of his mana.
He milled 39 cards by turn 2.
Wonder is gonna start with Darkslick Shores and Thoughtseize. So let's take a look what James is working with. Arcave Trap. He's already pointing. Oh, Thoughtscar. I hadn't even seen that one. Did it come in from the sideboard? It's not on. We can't really find it. I'm surprised to see it.
Yeah, he has some in the sideboard. Kind of a weird
Yeah.
sideboard card.
Weird sideboard card indeed. Now what's the pick here? Of course, hard to say when you don't know the hand of Wonder, but
I think if Wonder has fetch lands and he needs to crack them, he has to take the Archive Trap. It's just too powerful. But Mesmeric Orb, you are fairy, so you don't have to tap too much mana, but ultimately it will mill you probably for more cards.
and he's gonna get rid of the Mesmeric, or maybe he's just looking to play the game without fetching ever. I already see a couple of islands and Concealed Courtyard. Now James is gonna start with Thoughtscar here. Godless Shrine and Bitter Blossom gone, and I draw a card. Gotta put these cards into your opponent's graveyard if you want to play Ancestral Recall. You have the standard All-Star Concealed Courtyard. Still not enough mana for Tasigur, but he is keeping up mana for Counter Squall and the likes. Sheldock. This looks like a cube. This is a very good card in Cube Draft,
Yes.
Sheldock Isle.
And still a very underrated card in Cube.
There we have it. I'm gonna pick that one. Still 1 mana up. Are we gonna see a 1/1 flyer? Yeah, we are. Sheldock Isle. There we have it. Hideaway comes into play tapped, and you look at the 4 cards when it enters the battlefield, and you pick one, and you may play that card without paying its mana cost if a library has 20 or fewer cards. And I could imagine nothing but that there was Wonder Nothing's list deck. I mean, that's the plan for James. He wants to mill his opponent and then get a free card out of Sheldock Isle. And now also Jace's Phantasm, the 5/5 flyer, is gonna get in for 1 damage. Is that another Archive Trap? He's gonna start with Visions of Beyond. Gonna draw just 1 card. Not as good as Ancestral Recall, unfortunately this time. Ghost Carter. Is Wonder gonna search a land?
No, I don't think. I mean, it depends on your hand, right? Ooh.
In response, he's gonna Vendilion Click, get rid of these Archive Traps, if at all possible. Yeah, not the best hand for James Stewart this time around.
You just let them. You just let your opponent keep them, right?
Jace's Phantom is a good blocker for Vendilion Click, though.
Oh yeah, but you have some time. I would decide not to search with the Ghost Quarter. Leave your opponent with 2 Archive Traps and just play a game where you never search your library. Because it is optional, right? The Ghost Quarter. I think you can decline to search.
Yeah, that's what is going on. Concealed Courtyard goes to the graveyard thanks to Ghost Quarter, and Wonder decides to not search his graveyard, his his deck. There we have it. Its control may search his or her library. This must have been the first time in the history of Magic where the may is not in your favor. Wonder Nothing with Watery Grave. He's holding a couple of counter spells, so I think this game is looking quite good for him. He also has the cheap Tessiger, as we talked about. Certainly a card he was looking to bring in. He's going to remove 4, Del 4. There's the Banana King 4/5. And now
Delving is also very strong against Jace's Phantasm and the Visions of Beyond.
yeah,
Makes quite a bit of difference.
talking about Jace's Phantasm, there's a second one, but still a 1/1 flying. He can even attack with 1 if he wants to.
That would be quite aggressive, yes, but he could. Here you see the weakness of the Jace's Phantasm in particular. It's only really good if your plan is already working out.
There we have Banana King getting in there for 4. I can't really imagine Wonder milling himself with the ability. He's probably looking to keep up mana against Archive Trap. 2 mana. Glimpse the Unthinkable. Well,
Targeting Tessiger.
Tessiger. Spell Snare takes care of that one. We still see Dispel and Spellstutter Sprite, so there's some work to do there for James Stewart.
Yeah, James was trying to just get 10 power of Phantasms going. That would have been quite the clock. Oh, there's Polluted Delta.
Archive Trap is an instant, right? So he can Wonder can actually dispel that one. No attack anymore from the Banana King. Why is that?
Don't understand that one. Seems like to me like you just missed 4 points.
Ah, he was anticipating on the Mesmeric Arp. Didn't want to get milled a card.
I also don't know why you would play the Polluted Delta. Do you actually want to sacrifice it?
Maybe there's a point where he wants to cast his Cryptic, or he has to cast it. I mean, what's the advantage of keeping it in hand?
You never know. You might be able to discard it to something else. But here you have a really good Spellstutter Sprite, right?
Yeah, Wonder has to think about it a little bit. Just needs to make sure he doesn't waste his counter spells, which he might need in the future. He's gonna let it resolve, actually. There we go.
Oh no, he underestimates the Mesmeric Orb.
Well, if the Banana King is attacking for 4 a turn, though.
Sometimes, yes. No, I don't agree with this. Why do you not use your Spellstutter Sprite in such a perfect scenario?
There we have it. Mesmeric Orb now on the battlefield for James. Whenever a permanent becomes untapped, that permanent's controller. So it's actually working against James as well.
Not really against, right?
Yeah, he
because
could mill
Visions of Beyond is actually beneficial.
And the Sheldock Isle that's already there.
He could have tapped some more cards to get more cards into his graveyard. Because he's not the one getting decked this game.
Yep. Now Polluted Delta gonna grab himself another land. Of course, Jace's Phantasm only works when your opponent has 10 or more cards in his graveyard, so it doesn't work on yourself, which is quite unfortunate in this particular case.
But Visions of Beyond looks at both graveyards.
Yep.
I remember that Visions of Beyond was for a short time played in Pyromancer Ascension combo decks, where you usually also played Noxious Revival and you were basically going infinite.
Now, James did find his 5th land. Are we gonna see a hardcast Archive Trap? Not what the card is supposed to do. It's supposed to be played for 0 mana, but you gotta do what you gotta do. There we have it. Archive Trap.
Still casting it main phase to hopefully get those Phantasms up. And Wonder has an interesting decision here. Does he want to Cryptic or does he want to Dispel?
He's gonna Cryptic and bounce the Mesmeric Orb.
Really nice.
So he saves himself 5 cards.
Which he prefers to drawing an extra card, which I think is correct.
Wonder might actually think about attacking with the Vendilion Click here.
I agree. You're not gonna get rid of both of the Phantasms, so it's never going to be attacking for free. So why not just trade it with the one creature that's threatening to become a 5/5? One of the creatures.
And now a Bitter Blossom as well for Wonder, so that's another fairy card. Spellstutter Sprite now is X3. Let's see what James can find. His Mesmeric Orb. Still not enough, even if he mills 3 cards, that's only 5. And he doesn't even know about the Spellstutter Sprite. 5 mana, another Archive Trap, but there's still the Dispel.
No, Wander is playing this really well. Knows exactly that it's only about cards in his graveyard. It doesn't. Everything else is secondary. And now I expect him to attack with Vendilion Click as well.
Bitter Blossom is gonna create a token. Does put him down to 16. He draws a card. That's a Hello Fountain. He still has not used that Polluted Delta, which is definitely correct if your opponent is trying to play Archive Trap. Banana King's gonna get in there, but still looking at that Vendilion Click as well. No, seems like he's just getting in there for 4.
Yeah, and he does get to keep an additional fairy this way. Don't know if the difference between 3 and 4 makes such a big difference though. For those that don't know, Bitter Blossom is a tribal enchantment, so it also has the fairy creature type.
Yep.
Oh, tapped land. That's
He could destroy it with the Ghost Quarter. And then not search.
that also puts 2 more cards in his graveyard though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to play it untapped in that spot because you know about the Mesmeric Orb.
Mesmeric Orb, only 3 cards yet in Wonder's graveyard. Not as good as game number 1. I'm sure James was hoping to repeat that performance with
So
the
is
triple Archive Trap by turn 2.
Is Wander trying to... Will Wander try to counter that? The problem is the second Archive Trap, right?
He's already played 2, James.
He has played 2, so we don't know the last card.
Spellstutter Sprite or not. But the Archive Trap doesn't even get countered by the Spellstutter Sprite.
Exactly, so what are you... Oh no. He had to play it untapped and now I think he realizes.
He's making the same mistake. He's trying the next level play, but then puts 2 cards in his graveyard because of it. Spellstutter Sprite goes to the graveyard thanks to Tessiger. Do we have enough cards in the graveyard yet? I think it's 6 at this point.
No, the phantasms are still small.
And now Ceremonious Injection from the sideboard for Wander, mainly against Mesmeric Orb. Oh, there's also the Ensnaring Bridge, which he saw. Now he does have another way against Ensnaring Bridge, though. Another way to fight that if should James draw it. He's gonna mill. I'm a bit surprised to not see him mill himself more aggressively so that the Shelldock Isle is active.
Yes, I thought that was part of the plan with the Mesmeric Orb, to just basically tap out every time and at least make sure that you have 20 cards in your graveyard.
Yep.
I don't know how easy it is to actually go for to activate the Shelldock Isle, but it makes so much sense, right? You want Delirium, you want Visions of Beyond, you want as many cards in your graveyard as possible, I think.
But I think the writing is on the wall now. He's facing 3 attackers down to 2 life. Nothing in play yet. There he is, the scoop. Game number 2 to Wonder Nothing. That was a completely different game than game 1. I mean, from game 1, turn 1, we already saw things were not going very well for Wonder Nothing. In this game, he just played it perfectly and just managed to not put enough creatures in his own graveyard. And we also see he took out the Thoughtscar as we imagined. He's gonna put back in that Zealous Persecution though. Gotta kill these 1/1s.
Zealous Persecution is actually better than Fatal Push if you have it early enough. I think Fatal Push is also a really good card though.
Yeah, but there's Hedron Crab and the Manic Scribe.
Exactly. So Zealous Persecution depends. It depends on what else you have in your deck, I guess.
It can also sometimes just work as a mini crusade for one turn, just pumping up all of your own creatures for +1/+1, and maybe get rid of a couple of phantasm in the process. Was this game number 2, James Stewart deck not working, or was it Wonder Nothing playing it well?
I think James's deck would have worked if he had been able to cast Archive Trap for 0. For me, this is all about Wonder finding a hand with which he doesn't have to fetch.
Yep. And we see now James is actually cyborging out a couple of Archive Traps. He's cyborging out 2 of them. He knows that it's too dangerous. He's also cyborging out no, he's putting these back in. Mineral Mind Funeral is also in his cyborg as a 2-off in his main deck. He did cyborg these out. He's gonna put back in the Glimpse the Unthinkable though. Although Glimpse not that good, to be fair, against a deck with Spellstutter Sprite and Spell Snare.
Exactly. 2 mana sorceries are not very reliable. Maybe Hedron Crab could be an all-star, because Wonder cannot keep too much removal in his deck, and Hedron Crab easily mills for 6 or 9. I don't like taking out Archive Traps. I think if you're playing against a deck that has 7 fetch lands, like the Esper Fairies deck, you're not too happy about it, but that's still 7 lands.
Yep.
Which Wonder cannot all take out, and you saw that there was at least 1 polluted delta. I think Wonder just didn't draw too many fetch lands, but taking out Archive Trap seems really counterintuitive to me. You're even playing Ghost Quarters, so just strip mine them, or you get the Archive Trap active.
Yep. I also like the combo of Hedron Crab plus Oboro in the deck of Windward Steward. Just bounce your own land, so you get to trigger the Hedron Crab all the time. A nice little addition. Might also work if you have like 4 lands, you want to play around Tectonic Edge. Just bounce it. Just some little tricks with the Oboro Palace in the Clouds.
Yeah, most of which never happen in a average game, but
I think the Hedron Crab could actually work.
Could be relevant, yeah. And there is very little downside to playing Oboro. Only Blood Moon is basically.
Blood Moon. As we see it, Oboro legendary land, add blue to it. So it's basically the island, the legendary island, but with the added ability of being able to return it to your own hand for 1 mana. Beautiful picture as well. As we see the palace in the clouds.
This is of course related to the ability of the Soratami, which you could activate by returning lands to your hand. Meloku, the most famous one.
Yeah. A time I certainly remember. Meloku was a very good card in draft.
The good old times.
There is even the misprint Meloku, I think it's in German or in another language, that makes 2/2 flyings. So there's cubes where they have that card and you have to make 2/2s. And anyway, let's start with this game. Turn number 1, Jace's Phantasm for James Stewart. Turn number 1, Inquisition of Kozilek. Is that Path to Exile from the cyborg?
This is an interesting choice, because I don't think you want to play spot removal against fairies if you can help it.
Against Vendilion Click. There's not that many. Don't really understand that either. He's gonna get rid of the Mesmeric Orb, a powerful permanent on turn 2. That means that the Manic Scribe stays in James Stewart hand, but he does not have Delirium just yet. So just gonna mill 3. 1, 2, and 3. And get in there.
Gotta attack for 1.
An island for still no fetch land. Although he does know now that there's only a small chance that there's a Archive Trap.
Yes, if he had a fetch land, I think he would have used the Thoughtseize and then fetched. You want to make sure that you can fetch. These paths are not doing anything. You can take the visions and look at this board. It's 2/1 power creatures, and Jace's Phantasm is 5 cards away from growing, so you have a lot of time. I don't know what are these cards that James put into his deck.
Yeah,
Echoing Truth, Path to Exile. they don't do anything.
Yeah, correct. Echoing through, well, can bounce his own Manic Scribe, but apart from that, it's not cooperating the way he wants it. He wants to be consistently milling his opponent and make a 5-5. I mean, in this game, if this would have been a 5-5 already, it would have been so much better. Now he's off to playing Visions of Beyond.
I think we are seeing the mill deck crumble here. This is...
And is that... Yeah, it's just... he doesn't even have white mana yet as well. It's yeah, he over-sideboarding?
Over-sideboarded, yes. I'm convinced that James Stewart Winward plays this mill deck better than we do, because he's clearly the expert, but these sideboard cards, to me, look like a misunderstanding of the Fairies matchup. This is not how you beat Fairies. Path to Exile seems like a terrible card to bring in against the Fairies deck.
And maybe he was very afraid of that Vendilion Click, which is how in game 1, but game 2, but there's only one in the main deck, and only one Mistbind Click as well, so not that many targets. And these 1/1s, ooh, ha! Told ya, it's gonna happen. Hedron Crab, pay 1, return my Oboro. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a better sequencing for that, right? You can return it before, then you at least you get the trigger guaranteed.
But what about Mana Tide? Your opponent might just fetch the planes and Mana Tide the Hedron Crab at that point. No, I think indeed the better play is to first bounce the land, then play the Hedron Crab. If the Hedron Crab resolves, Wonder does not get the time to search up the planes and Path to Exile the Hedron Crab. Because now with the ability of Oboro on the stack, the Path to Exile will get rid of the Hedron Crab and there will be no milling for James.
Unless he has an Archive Trap.
No, he's got 2 Path to Exiles, unfortunately. He is gonna search up a basic planes if he has one in deck. There we go. So at least that's something. And this gets to back to his hand, and he's gonna play it again. Does he have Delirium yet? No, just Artifact and Instant. Yep.
Even the creature got exiled, so quite a way to go. However, the Jace's Phantasm could become a 5/5 at some point. I don't think Wander is too concerned. There are other decks that play 5/5s as early as turn 2, so...
Don't forget, a loss in this round means one of these guys will not be able to make it in the top 8, or at least it's going to be very unlikely. Win puts him at 8-1-1, which is not too bad of a record. Wonder is not going to waste any time. He's going to put some pressure on James Stewart. Lingering Souls creating 2 more spirits. There we go.
Two losses and 1 draw. At some GPs is enough for top 8, but you need to be at one of the smaller GPs.
Yep. Now a Mesmeric Orb. Not too bad of a draw, to be fair.
Yeah, immediately milling for 4.
And also, Wonder Nothing's creatures are quite small. So he's gonna mill 4. That will put enough cards for the Jace's Phantasm to become a 5/5.
Yep. And even if the Lingering Souls is flashed back, it will still be a 5/5, which can be quite relevant. Imagine that James blocks here, and then if Wonder flashes back the Lingering Souls, the Phantasm would die. That would be incredible.
Yeah, but we do still see a Snapcaster Mage, and the Path to Exile is still in the graveyard for Wonder. So I'm guessing we're gonna see that one and a big attack once again. Although he gotta be careful that he doesn't mill too many cards by attacking with these 1/1s.
Well, the thing is, if the Phantasm is gone, he's not really losing the race, right? He usually life totals go down faster than cards in your library. And James doesn't really have anything, if we're honest.
Because there's more than 20 cards in the deck of Wonder Nothing. Is he gonna search up another land? Yeah, it seems like he is. Another basic land for James Stewart, and Wonder gets in for 3, puts James down to 15 life.
I think Wonder has to play very aggressively here. You don't have infinite time, and it's better to trade now damage for cards, as long as you know your opponent doesn't really have anything. But is James maybe casting his path on just on a flyer?
I mean, by now I think he realizes it, how bad of a choice it was to cyber these cards. But now that they're there, might as well. Oh no, he's just gonna tap his planes to make sure he mills himself more. Mill 4 cards. There we have it, 4 lands. That's actually quite a good combination. Now Manic Scribe becomes Delirium. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
A turn too late, but still gonna work. And he is gonna Toutscar Wonder, so we got a race at hands here. I think this race is not over.
No, it's not. Definitely.
Another Manic Scribe. Look at that.
Wow, that's huge. That's 6 cards immediately, and then Wonder has to. I think this Mesmeric Orb is really the key card. So now we have 6 from the orbs and 6 from the scribes.
Yeah, 12.
Is he getting there after all?
What is the chat rooting for? Do we want the fairies or the Mildeck to win? I think I know the answer here.
You have to root for Mill every time.
Yeah, that's indeed what you gotta do. Mill 12, 6 from the Mesmeric Orb, 6 from the scribes. And conveniently, the scribes are also a roadblock for for Snapcaster Mage. It's
Also
0-3.
holding back the Snapcaster Mage, yes. And there's no good way for Wonder to attack through the Mesmeric Orb. He can trade 1 card for 1 damage. The Tar Pit trades 4 cards for 3 damage.
Yep.
And the Snapcaster Mages are currently not able to attack. So there's no card efficient way.
And I think we're getting to the point where there's less than 20 cards in Wonder's deck, and then attacking for 1 just becomes a bad idea, because your opponent is at 15. If there's less than 15 cards in your deck, you don't want to attack for 1.
Well,
unless it's the final attack.
Exactly. Mesmeric Orb is really tricky. You have to kind of calculate another race. But here, what Wonder has to do, I believe, is to just get rid of the scribes for 2 reasons. He can start attacking for more cost efficiently with the Snapcaster Mages, maybe only with the Snapcaster Mages, for example, or for 5. That would maybe be the perfect way of closing out this game. 5-5-5. I wouldn't care for Lingering Souls too much. They don't really do what you want to do. So just get rid of the scribes. This is the easiest way. And he's holding at least a Collective Brutality. So maybe you have to attack with 1 Snapcaster Mage, and then the blocking scribe gets Brutality. It's not great, but in my opinion, it's your only way. Or is he holding 2 Snapcaster Mages?
Yes.
He's Snapcaster Mage flooded.
Good flood against the Mildeck. He's got to do some counting, but he's going to tap that white land. Oh, he's going to Collective Brutality here. Or not. Just giving it some thought. Maybe he's looking at attacking first. Just a 1 Snapcaster Mage. Come on, at least attack with the second one.
No, that's not good.
Yeah, that's bad against the Mesmeric Orb.
No, because they both get blocked.
Yeah, and it would be like a null operation if there wouldn't be Mesmeric Orb, but because of Mesmeric Orb, it's a mill 1 extra.
The big question for me is if Wonder is risking too much by attacking with his.
He's actually gonna
with
search
his
a
1/1s.
land.
He can still fail to find here.
Seems like he's going for it. That's 1 card less in his deck,
No,
and a card
yeah,
tapped.
it's 2 cards less, right?
Maybe he wanted that extra land for Snapcaster Mage plus Cryptic Command.
Yes, that's actually a really good point. Snapcaster Cryptic could make the difference in this Mesmeric Orb battle. Next turn, if he hits the land number 6, he attacks, and then end of turn bounces the Mesmeric Orb. Seems like he's still not sure what to do with his Collective Brutality. Ah, no, I think Windward just didn't block.
No. Just took 4. He's down to 11. Afraid of Collective Brutality, but there's also the path to exile. Yeah, he's looking at that Collective Brutality in Wanderer's Graveyard. He does not know about the one in hand. Wonder Nothing, a Pro Tour competitor. Remember him joining us in Honolulu. He's gonna Collective Brutality. Get rid of the path to exile and drain you. Put you at 9. Is it enough next turn? Not just yet. 2 mana. Oh, Flashback Lingering Soul. So he's got 4 in the air plus 3 from the Creeping Tar Pit. So that's 7.
Yeah, or 2 from the Collective Brutality. But he has to make sure that he doesn't die again.
Yeah, I told you. Nice little combo there. Gonna mill. How many cards do we have left? We need to know the count. There's gonna be 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 6 milled. Is it enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now 6 more. 6 more. He needs to draw the land now, right?
He needs to top deck a land, and then I'm even not sure if it's enough.
It's a Mistbind click.
No, I think Wanderer is
he losing the race?
losing to Mesmeric Orb.
1, 2, 3 cards left.
No way. There's no way to win this race. Also, he opted. I don't know. The
Really?
last turns were.
Oh, he cannot because of the Manic Scribe.
The last turns were really weird. He opted not to flashback Path to Exile on a Manic Scribe.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he used his Collective Brutality for basically nothing. Also attacking with his 1/1s, searching the land with the Path. That all played right into James's hand.
Now he's looking. Do I have enough damage? He's 2 mana, a couple of mana short actually. To Flashback Brutality and attack with the Creeping Tar Pit. So I don't think there's a way out here.
But in this scenario, even if he had the Cryptic Command available, he still wouldn't have lethal. So that's why I really don't like this line. He could attack for 8 if he had Cryptic Command.
And despite sideboarding cards which did basically nothing to Path to Exile and Echoing Truth, the mill deck still gets you. That's how strong it is.
Also missing 3 cards with the Hedron Crab, right? This was the same game.
Yep. Do we have another tier 1 deck in Modern?
Mesmeric Orb. This is to me the card that's really the unbeatable component for the Fairies deck. You have once it comes down, you have to really change how you play the game. Almost like in a Death Shadow matchup where you suddenly have to think about life totals in a different way. Here you have to think about racing in a completely different way, and winning the race with the Spirit tokens, I think, was the completely wrong approach.
Gotta put all of these 0-3s in front of them. He's actually gonna kill it. Not sure why that happened.
It's a 0-3, right?
0-2, no? Otherwise,
Maybe it's 0-2. Yeah. Okay. But James, at this point, he knows he's won.
There we have it. A win for James Stewart. Thanks to Mesmeric Art mainly. What a game that was. We thought Wonder had everything under control, but he had nothing under control. He just loses to Mill in the first round of day number 2 here at Grand Prix Birmingham.
Good way to start the day.
What a game that was, and what a game number 1. I mean, triple Archive Trap by turn 2. It seems like the matches in our feature match area are over, I believe, but we're gonna take a look at some time walk. Well, we are not. We're gonna take a little break, but it will be Rich coming in together with Wayne Dillon. Wayne Dillon. He's at 8-2. We saw him yesterday lose to Jérôme Bastogne at 8-0, did he? Or 7? Might have been round number 8. With his control deck, blue, white, red control, Jeskai control, he's at 8-2. A deck we've seen quite a bit actually yesterday, Jeskai control. I thought it was not really well positioned. The balls, everyone keeps talking about Lightning Bolt not being very good. I mean, cards like Electrolyze used to be pretty good against decks with Dark Confidant, but right now everyone is running Dead Shadow, and I don't want to be running cards that deal 2 or 3 damage against these decks.
Yep.